Hello, and thank you for joining me. This is Jennifer Lake, registered dietitian with the Council on Aging of Southwestern Ohio. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you information on how to become an approved participant as a farmer or a market manager for the Ohio Senior Farmers Market Program. There are two parts to this training. The first part will review the program's purchase, the rules and requirements and expectations to participate in the program. The second part includes the civil rights training, which is required when any program receives federal funding. So let's start with the purpose of the program. So this wonderful benefit program allows access to Ohio's low-income seniors to fresh fruits, vegetables, cut herbs, and honey. So the Farmers Market Program does receive funding from the USDA, or the United States Department of Agriculture. They provide funds for the states, U.S. territories, Indian tribal governments. This program is a national program. Ohio has participated in the program more than 17 years. And in Southwest Ohio, Council on Aging has been a participant since 2020. So we're going into our fourth year. As far as the federal funds, 90% of our award is used directly for the reimbursement cost of those coupons, and then only 10% is used for any administration tasks. The Ohio State budget has contributed $660,000 to expand the program in Ohio. So this year, the goal is to have this in operation in all 88 counties. So a little bit more about the program and what the impacts look like. You know, this slide says win, 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 and that's definitely what the program does. So the older Ohioans win because they now have access and a revenue stream to be able to buy those fresh fruits and vegetables from the local farm markets and roadside stands. The Ohio farmers benefit because it increases their customer base and it, in turn increases their income. And then it also helps Ohio's economy. I can tell you just from being involved with this program for the last 3 years that there are so many benefits to this program, even beyond just being able to supply them with the $50 coupon vouchers. We heard so many comments from seniors that said that either they've never been to a farmer's market before, or maybe they haven't purchased fresh fruits and vegetables for a very long time. Because the unfortunate thing with our lower income older adults in Ohio is that sometimes they have to make a choice between medications and foods that they buy. So this gives them a little bit of relief and the ability to select fresh fruits and vegetables, cut herbs, and honey. We also heard a lot of great feedback from the farmers involved, and that even more so than getting a higher number of customers, just the interactions that they've had has really just made their day. And they love the interaction with the seniors, and just love being able to educate them on basically farm to table. So the administration of the program is operated, starting with the USDA. Those funds are then filtered through the Ohio Department of Aging, and then Ohio Department of Aging oversees local agencies. So Council on Aging of Southwest Ohio is the local area agency on aging, or the AAA. So we are the contracted partner that oversees the operation of this program. And our region is Southwest Ohio, that includes Hamilton County, Butler County, Warren County, Clinton County, and Claremont County. So we oversee 5 counties. There are 12 different regions in the state of Ohio, and each region operates their own farmers market program. So some of the responsibilities that we have as the AAA is that we have to oversee the farmers market compliance. We monitor the farmers and the market managers. We operate and monitor the coupon distribution practices, and then we provide training and technical assistance. So you are in the first step of becoming an approved farmer and or receiving just an update if you've been with us for more than 3 years. So we are required to provide this training, and then you will be signing an agreement with Council on Aging of Southwest Ohio that is documents that just attest to your compliance of all of the rules and regulations. So in order for an older Ohioan to participate in the program, they must be at least 60 years of age or older. They must live within our service area. So if they live outside of one of our 5 counties, we refer them to the AAA that's overseeing the program in their county, and they would apply there. There is an income eligibility requirement, and that is 185% of the federal poverty level for the household income. This slide demonstrates what those values are. So for example, a family of 2, they would need to make a household income of less than or equal to $36,482. One of the beautiful things about this program is that it's not based on one per household. So if you have 2 older Ohioans living in the same house, it could be spouses, partners, a parent and a child, or, sisters, brothers. Each person can qualify for their own benefit package. So if you have 2 people and they both qualify, they would each get their own $50 worth of coupon vouchers. If an older adult is unable to attend a coupon distribution or visit a farmer's market in order to spend their coupons, they can authorize a representative that can help them in that process. So this is an example of some of the eligible foods for the program. So the big requirement for you as a farmer or a farmer's market manager is that all of the foods need to be grown locally, either grown by you as the farmer or purchased from local farmers, and that is just to support the local farm movement. So for example, if you grow a certain number of different fruits and vegetables, but you supplement what you sell at your market or your roadside stands, as long as you're purchasing them from local farmers within Ohio or within any of the surrounding states, those are the eligible foods that you can sell in exchange for those coupon vouchers. You are not able to purchase from warehouses, distributions, auctions, and again, that is just basically because we're trying to support the local farmer. Another thing, just to keep in mind, things that are purchased outside of Ohio or the local, or the surrounding states are not eligible items. So for example, peaches from Georgia. Even though those are beautiful pieces of fruit, you're not able to exchange those in Ohio with the coupons because they're not grown locally. If you get peaches from Indiana, great. You can certainly exchange the coupons for those. Some of the other items that can be found at markets or at roadside stands might include things like egg and cheese and meats, bakery items, crafts, preserves and, processed foods. Those are not eligible to be used in exchange for the coupons. They are only eligible to be used for fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh cut herbs, and honey. So here's some information specific for farmers and market managers in order to become an authorized vendor. So in order to be eligible, you must grow and sell eligible produce. You must have either a roadside stand, a farm market, or participate in a farmer's market. You will be entering into an agreement with us as the agency. You'll complete the farmer's market training, which is what this PowerPoint is, and then comply with all of the guidelines. And then finally, we do ask that you provide a certain amount of information to us so that we can set you up for the reimbursement process, which I'll be discussing a little bit later in this program. The farmers market agreements will be good for 3 years. So if you're signing up for the first time this year, you will not have to go through this interactive training for 3 more years. However, we do provide updates and the current manual every year to all of our participating farmers and markets to keep you abreast of all of any changes or updates the programs may have. If you happen to sell your items or your produce outside of our 5-county area, you will be able to accept coupons from the other areas, for example, Preble County to our north or Brown County to our east. Each of those counties have programs that they operate themselves. So we have what we call a reciprocal farmer agreement. So if you're under an agreement or an approval process for us in Southwest Ohio, and you have received coupons for another area, we can share that agreement with those other areas so that you don't have to also sign an agreement with them. And then we would help you through the process of making sure that you get those coupons to the right agency for reimbursement from them. So for all new farmers, an interactive training is required, and then all returning farmers review the Farmers Market Manual on an annual basis and receive updates. So this is an example of what the Farmers Market Manual looks like. More than likely, you have already received this from me. I encourage you to take a look at that. A lot of the information that's reviewed in this slide program is also covered in the market manual. And as mentioned before, you will get an updated copy of this each and every year. So some of the roles and responsibilities that you have as a farmer in order to participate in the program is to understand that these coupons can only be exchanged for the eligible foods. So again, it's anything that you grow or that you've purchased from local farms. You also need to make sure that the foods are priced the same for the participants in this program as you would charge for any of the others, that you're only accepting coupons within the dates that they're valid, and that you are submitting coupons for reimbursement during those allowable times. Each coupon will need to be identified when you turn them in for reimbursement, and I'll go over that in some future slides. You also need to agree that you'll be to be monitored for compliance in the program and be accountable for all of your actions. Obviously some of these things, are just, common sense, offering the same courtesies to others, not, marking prices clearly, marking your produce clearly, and definitely not participating in any discriminatory practices. One of the other things that you'll be receiving as an approved farmer or market manager is a poster that needs to be displayed. So this is one of the requirements. The reason the poster is so important is that it helps the older adult identify who at the market can accept the coupon so that they can feel comfortable approaching your table and talking with you to understand what they're able to purchase. So we will be providing those posters to you. Once you get through the training and have signed the agreement, we will make the arrangements for that. And then obviously, that you're providing wholesome quality food. So some things that you are not able to do is you are not able to exchange the coupons for cash or give change back. So for example, if a senior has given you $10 worth of coupons and they've only spent $8, you cannot give them $2 back in change. We encourage you to find $2 worth of additional items so that they can get their full amount. And then obviously you are not able to give cash as exchange for them not purchasing anything. The other thing that you cannot do is collect tax from the participants in this program. If something happens with the reimbursement process, you obviously cannot go back to the senior to get restitution, but rest assured that we have not had any issues with reimbursement of the coupons for the last 3 years that we have participated in the program. So the participants will receive paper coupons. They will receive 10 of them. They are worth $5 each. There will be a validation date indicated on each of the coupons, and the coupons can only be redeemed by those farmers and market managers that have been authorized for the program. Our coupons are good until the end of October, so the expiration date on the coupon will be listed as 10/31/23. This is an example of what the coupons will look like. This year, our coupons are a red color. It's a very pale red color. And then obviously they'll be updated with the year 2023. But this is an example where it will show that each coupon has a $5 value. Our information will be listed at the bottom with our phone number. And then another date that is important to remember is that for you to receive reimbursement for the coupons, we must receive them by November 10th of that year. So the coupons are good through the end of October, and then you have until November the 10th to send them to us. But you can send them to us at any time during the year. You do not need to hold on to them. And in fact, our accounting department prefers that you send them in earlier. So it's real important to remember that you need to treat the coupons as cash. So make sure you're storing them safely, because lost or stolen coupons cannot be replaced. And also remember, making sure that you're not exchanging those coupons for cash and you're not giving change back from the coupons. So when you are presented with the coupon, some of the things you need to make sure that you do verify is that they are purchasing items that are eligible, that you're verifying that they are indeed for this year and are still valid, and that you're not exchanging, that you're only exchanging them for the food, and that you are not charging sales tax and not giving change back. So when you submit the coupons for reimbursement, which you will be sending all coupons to Council on Aging of Southwest Ohio, the one thing that we ask that you do is that you either sign or stamp the back of the coupon. This helps us identify who the coupon belongs to. So it can be a signature, or it can be if you happen to have a stamp for your farm. Some of the other things is that, making sure that when you submit the coupons, you face them all in the same direction, and that's just, to help with the processing of with our accounting staff, and then including that signed invoice, and I'll show an example of that. So you will be submitting the coupons directly to the agency. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. So if you are an individual farmer that's been authorized for the program, you'll be submitting those coupons directly to us at the Council on Aging of Southwest Ohio. If you are a farmer's market manager, typically the routine is that your approved vendors at your market will supply the coupons to you at the end of your market time. So for example, if your market's on a Saturday, they sell for 2 or 3 hours, and then they come up to you, give you the coupons, and you as the market manager would then reimburse the farmer at that time. And then you as the market manager would submit the bounty of coupons to Council on Aging, and we would reimburse the market, so you'd be able to put that those funds back into your market account. So this is an example of a coupon invoice. So very simple to complete. We just ask, for the farmer name or market manager. We ask for either your stamp. It says stamp or ID number. That's really just how you're going to be signing the coupon. So if you're going to be signing your name, or if you're going to have an actual stamp, you can include an example of that. We ask obviously for your mailing address, your phone, your email, and then the number of coupons for the total amount to be paid. So on the coupon invoice page that you'll be receiving from us, it is actually a full page, and it has all of the process and contact information on there. So it will list our name, our address, who to send it to, simple instructions on what we need, and dates. Like it will say, if you submit coupons by this date in the month, you should receive payment by this date. So they process the coupons twice a month. So if you submit the coupons early in the month, you should receive payment by the end of the month. If you're submitting coupons towards the end of the month, then your payment should be in the middle of the next month. And again, all of those instructions will be reviewed with you at the time of agreement, and then you'll receive copies of this invoice sheet to return with your coupons. So just as a reminder, our coupons expire at the end of October, and the coupons must be submitted no later than the 10th of November. So here's some information, contact information for us. So we're located on Malsbury Road in Blue Ash, and all of this information will be included in your agreement and also on those invoice sheets. So one of the things that we need to inform you of is that if you're publicizing your participation in the program, we think that's absolutely wonderful. A lot of our markets have Facebook pages or Instagrams, or they have websites, they have newsletters that go out. We encourage you to publicize because we're trying to get the word out as well to increase the participation in our program. So anytime you publicize that, you need to include the statement. And so the statement reads, this project has been funded, at least in part, with federal funds from the USDA and from the support of the Ohio Department of Aging, and that would be our name, the Council on Aging of Southwest Ohio. So we just ask that you include that in any publications or marketing that you might do for the program. The other thing that's required is that if you are publicizing the program, you also must include a statement of non-discrimination. So there is a long version and there's a short version, and I will be discussing that. The short version is definitely acceptable, and that's what we encourage you to use in any publications for the program. For monitoring the program, one of the requirements that we are for the authorized operating agency is that we are required to monitor compliance of at least 10% of all of our farmers, 10% of our farmers markets, and 10% of our roadside stands. And this definitely includes any of our high-risk farmers. So a high-risk farmer is considered someone who does a very high volume of coupons. It also includes a farmer or a market that maybe has received a complaint, and it also includes anybody in their first year operating with us in the program. So with the program, we certainly welcome both compliments and complaints. So if we ever receive a complaint, that is investigated, there is disciplinary action that could happen. And I'll review with you what those violations possibly could be. But I can tell you that in the last 3 years that we have not had any issues with any of our participants or any of our participating farmers and farmers markets. And I really don't anticipate problems in the future. I feel like everybody who participates in the program are doing it for the right reasons. Visiting farmers markets, the environment is definitely uplifting and positive, and the seniors are so excited to be able to come and spend their coupons and get those fresh fruits and vegetables. So we've really not had an issue in the past. So as far as violations, there are class 1, 2, and 3. Class 1 is a single finding of noncompliance, and usually with that, it's either a warning letter or just a verbal warning to correct the deficiency. Class 2 is 2 or more findings, and this is definitely a letter to correct the deficiency. And then Class 3 are more serious areas of noncompliance, and this will result in a possible suspension or disqualification from the program. So some examples of what a class 3 violation would be that maybe you're accepting coupons in exchange for, you're exchanging them for cash. You're not charging the same for our participants that you are for other customers. You're not really completing the agreement truthfully. You're trying to seek restitution from a participant. Or if you have been disqualified from the Ohio WIC Farmers Market Program, or if you've been cited for 3 or more Class 1 violations. This is the market manager tool that we use. So when we come out to look for compliance, these are some of the things that we're going to be looking for. I mentioned before the poster. That's probably the biggest thing. We really need to see that the poster is on display. If we don't see the poster on display, that could be a class 1 violation, and that would be, from me, it would just be a verbal warning saying we need you to put the poster up. The poster is that eye-catching material that can alert the older Ohioan that's coming to the market for the first time to see who's accepting coupons, or make them feel welcome, like, oh, okay, this is where I can exchange them. Some of the other things that we're going to be looking for is that you've clearly posted prices and that you're selling items that are locally grown, that your produce appears wholesome, and that the exchange of the coupons is happening correctly. It's within the expiration dates, and that you're not exchanging those coupons for any change or cash. So that's an example of what the compliance tool looks like. In order to receive a suspension, you would have had to have done those class 3 violations. So this could be a suspension for a minimum or a maximum of, up to 15 days, and that just allows us time to investigate what the complaint actually been. You could be disqualified temporarily while we do investigate. A disqualification could be for the remainder of the farmers market year, which runs through the end of October. But more than likely, you would be able to reply or reapply for the program the following year, unless it was a very serious violation. A permanent disqualification could be if you've been disqualified by the WIC Farmers Market Program. So that's also operated through the state. It's actually operated through the Ohio Department of Health. But if you've been disqualified for one program, you are not able to participate in the other program. The other thing that could get you disqualified permanently is if you have violated anyone's civil rights. There is an appeal process, so if there is a complaint filed against you, we would do the investigation and we would give you the opportunity to appeal the process. And I will go over that process if and when the time comes. But like I mentioned before, I don't anticipate any problems in the coming year. Okay, so that completes the portion where I go over the rules and requirements of the program. Certainly after you have viewed this, we will follow up with a phone call and we can review and answer any questions or concerns you might have at that time, because we want you to feel comfortable. We want you to understand the information and know what your responsibilities are and also what our responsibilities are and how we can help each other in this partnership. So the next part of this training, we'll go over the civil rights training. So as I mentioned at the very beginning, any program that receives federal funding is required to undergo the civil rights training portion of this program. So because we receive funding through the USDA, we will be completing this part of the program together. So the objectives of this training is to review and make you understand what the protected classes are, what the definition of discrimination is, and then to give you information on the notification system, talk a little bit about the data that's collected, and then go over the complaints process. So the civil rights training is based on the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And like I mentioned before, we're required to go over this information as part of your training requirement for the program. So the protected classes are listed here. So they include race, color, national origin, age, sex, and disability. So no person in the United States shall, on the grounds of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or denied benefits of, or be subject to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. The definition of discrimination is the act of distinguishing one person or group of persons from others, either intentionally or by neglect, or by the effect of actions or the lack of actions based on their protected classes. So that is the definition of discrimination. So some examples of discrimination might be a delay in them receiving benefits of this program, being denied benefits, being treated differently, being excluded. They need to be treated equitably, and all allocation of resources, based on those protected classes. Some further examples might be issuing of applications in a way that doesn't allow them to be accessible to all groups, all places, all times. So that's something that we oversee. So when we release applications, we make sure that they're available to everybody in our 5-county area. Some of the other basic elements that we need to make sure is that the program is available, that we're listing information, including things like hours of operation, location of your market sites, location of our coupon distribution sites, that we're providing information on how to file a complaint, and then absolutely that non-discrimination statement needs to be included in everything that we do. There are two forms I'd mentioned earlier in the training. There is a shortened form and there's a full. So the shortened form basically just states that this institution is an equal opportunity provider. So that is something that we ask that you put on any material that you are using for the publicizing of the program. So just include that simple statement: this institution is an equal opportunity provider, and you will be in compliance with the civil rights training. This is the long statement. This is the full statement. We include this in all of our applications. It is not necessary for you to include this on your website or any social media post. I encourage you to use that shortened statement, but if you would like this longer statement, let me know and I can certainly get that to you. So the full statement is something that we include in our application process. It is not something that you need to include with yours. And as I mentioned just on the previous slide, I encourage you to use the shortened statement. So there are some prohibitive actions. The language cannot be altered in any way. So you need to list the statement, whether you use the short or the long statement, exactly the way that you received it. It cannot be altered in any way. So the next few slides just include some additional information that, how to include those statements on your publication. So making sure that they are separate from any of the other body of information you might be including, so that they are definitely readable and noticeable. We are required at any events that we attend for coupon distribution to display this poster. The End Justice for All poster contains information on non-discrimination practices, and if they feel like they have been violated, it has information on there where they can file a complaint. So that's something that we are required to do as the contracted agency or operator of this program. So there is some data collection that is used because this is a federally funded program. So they collect data on participants' ethnicity and also their race. And this is voluntary information on the application. We do encourage them all to fill this out. The reason the government collects this information is they do studies on who is taking advantage of these benefit programs. So it's all confidential. The actual information that the government collects is just the ethnicity and the race. Okay, so as far as filing a complaint, a participant can file a complaint, and you as a farmer or a market can also file a complaint. And we just ask that the complaint is filed with 180 days. These complaints can be filed written, verbal, or they can even be filed anonymously. So the whole process of the complaints will be explained at the time. We provide education to the participants, and we will certainly provide education to you as well. So the next few slides contain information that we collect. We're collecting contact information. We're collecting the location of the incident, what the nature of the incident was, what the complaint, the one that's filing the complaint, what they believe the discrimination was, and the dates that the alleged discrimination occurred. There's a form that we fill out. The form will actually submitted to the appropriate agency, and it's actually located in Chicago. The compliance reviews are completed, pre-approval, post-approval, and then under any special situations if a complaint arises throughout the year. So we take steps to investigate, the incident or the complaint that's filed, and then we also go through an appeals process should that be appropriate. As I mentioned before, the complaints are submitted to Chicago, Illinois. And I know I've kind of run through those slides quickly, but just know that if the situation arises, you will receive additional information and training at that time. And I want to, just reiterate, I've not had any issues for the past 3 years. And really across the state, I hear from other agencies that there really have been very minimal number of incidents that have been reported. So I'm encouraged by this, and I don't anticipate any problems for us this year. So our final slide is some contact information. Natasha Webker is actually the coordinator of the program for Council on Aging of Southwest Ohio. So her contact information or email is listed here. Myself, Jennifer Lake, can also be reached at the email address on the slide. I've also included our contact information for the Council on Aging, Malsbury Road and Blue Ash, with our phone number. You can call and leave a message for any questions that you may have, as well as also an email account for the Farmers Market program itself. The last slide includes the website for the Ohio Department of Aging. You can also go there for wonderful information about the program as well. Our website is the Council for the Council on Aging is Help for Seniors. So that's help, the number 4, seniors.org. And we do have information about the Senior Farmers Market on our website as well. So I thank you very much for participating in this program. This is the first step in becoming approved and or updating your agreement for the next 3-year cycle. And as I mentioned previously, we will follow this training up with a phone call to see if you have any questions or concerns about any of the information that was shared, as well as providing any additional updates that may have come since this program has been recorded. I'm excited about your participation in the program, and the seniors are definitely the ones that benefit, as well as anybody who participates in the program as far as a farmer's market or an individual farmer. So welcome, and I thank you for your time.